somewhere along the line, the feminists taught us that that there were no differences. Women were just as good as men in almost every way. And so it didn't matter if men were in women's sports. You see the contradiction there? They couldn't have both positions. But yet, of course, anyone that has real common sense knew that an agenda was being foisted upon us. And this huge lie was being told that men and women weren't different and didn't need different, more importantly, didn't need different types of things in order for them to have the proper formation of character. And so what ended up happening, we had generations of malformed people, malformed after birth, because they were sold this agenda that women should be just like men, go out there and they showed that they can. They showed that they can be just as merciless of business people. Business women can be, in some ways, far more merciless than men in the business world. And also that the moment that you give them the opportunity to be in charge, they become just as oppressive as men do. And so it's kind of funny. I'm this big Boy Scout guy. My mom was the greatest den mother in the world. But I understand there's a difference between Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts. And Webelos is meant to be the bridge. You're only in it for a couple of years. But Boy Scouts, what's the point of Boy Scouts? It's to teach men teach boys how to be men. And in some ways, there's a very keen insight to this that doesn't get expressed, which is it's very important for boys to have their masculinity affirmed by other men, okay? Women cannot affirm a boy's masculinity. A mother or a woman can emasculate the boy, but it doesn't work the other way. In order for a boy's masculinity to be affirmed, it has to come from a man. In order for it to be effective, okay? This is why I listen to the conversations. I've had this happen a few times in my life where I listen to these volitional single mothers, the women who adopt children without having anyone in their life, or just women who have run off their men, or women who had bad men who are not there parenting. They don't understand that they can't affirm a boy's masculinity. And so the boy needs other men in their lives. And think of it also that if you can't be a good example, you're going to be a terrible reminder. So add to this universe of boys that don't have fathers affirming their masculinity, and then think of the percentage of fathers that are doing the emasculation of their sons. And then throw in just the whole idea that there are boys that are at risk, and this is the great insight of the Boy Scouts, is to have a place where boys who didn't have fathers or who had fathers that were bad examples could go and see the normalcy, the norms of, and those are not the same things, of masculinity being formed in other boys whose masculinity was being affirmed. And so what do you learn in Boy Scouts? You learn how to handle fire, in other words, how to handle power, and weapons, and survival. But also there's this huge conservancy aspect of it. And this is why I always say the conservatives and conservationists are natural bedfellows. The conservationist is doing what? He is trying to preserve, extend, and enhance our natural ecology. Well, what's a conservative doing? He's trying to preserve it and extend and enhance our social ecology, the things that make our society good. We want to keep those things. We don't want to tear down walls that were put up for a reason. And but we also, I'm getting off on the point of being good stewards of what we have inherited, because what we have inherited is amazing. There's no, and this, of course, it all comes back to cultural relativism, which is where we started, which is when you develop a culture that doesn't believe that there are major differences between men and women, then you're in real danger. The old line is that civilizations are forged by patriarchy, but they die in matriarchy. Just something to think about there. Oh!